Welcome to the Legally Speaking podcast. I'm your host, Rob Hanna. I'm pleased to introduce to you our Clio Con 2023 mini clips mini-series. I am delighted to be joined by the wonderful Alex. So would you mind telling our listeners just a little bit about your background and career journey before the world of Clio?
Hi, Rob. So good to be here. Thank you for having me. My name is Alex Shipillo. I'm Clio's VP of Growth Marketing. And prior to Clio, my journey was early stage technology startups. Worked for all kinds of early stage startups, B2B, B2C, e-commerce. And about 6 years ago, I joined the team at Clio to help lead our growth marketing strategy.
What is growth marketing to people who may not be familiar with it?
Yeah, great question, Rob. Marketing is a broad facet of business, but growth is important because we believe that marketing is a huge driver of our growth. Our ability to drive new customer acquisition, to drive expansion across new areas of the business, to discover and find new customers. That's sort of the role that our team plays. And I guess one way of thinking about it is a very data-driven, analytical, hypothesis-minded way of thinking about marketing as a tactic for business growth that collaborates strongly with other marketing functions, with sales, and with revenue operations to drive new customer growth.
Yeah, it's exciting. And we're recording this in Nashville at Clio Con. It's a hell of an operation. It's a major production. And everything is all aligned with exactly what you're saying around growth and making the experience better. But let's keep on about you for the moment. You know, VP, you're in a serious role with Clio. What does your typical day look like?
Yeah, great question, Rob. A typical day, I don't think there's a typical day at Clio. We have a really fast-paced team and an ambitious growth mindset. So every day is very different in terms of what we're trying to do and achieve. One thing that I love about my team specifically is we are extremely distributed. I'm based in Toronto, Canada. We've got folks in Ireland who are part of our EMEA hub. We've got people across Canada and the US, and we just hired our first team member in Australia this year. So the team really spans coast to coast to coast and ocean to ocean to ocean, and is really focused on driving growth across our business and doing that through a whole bunch of different channels and programs.
And that's what I was going to dive into, actually, because it's very clear growth for Clio is important, as well as the growth for the law firms that you look after through Clio. You know, Canada, the US, Australia, UK, it's all going in the right direction. You know, how do you approach leading a sort of global team across these multiple countries?
Yeah, I think growth is important, not just for the sake of growth, but we can't achieve our mission of transforming the legal experience for all if we can't get a lot more law firms to adopt the ideas and strategies and client experience that we want to offer at Clio. So I do think that growth is a central part of our mission. And to align as a team, well, we're very used to asynchronous communication. So that means a lot of our time is spent in Slack and in Zoom. And that's what gets us to communicate and collaborate all over the world.
Yeah, and again, you do a tremendous job, it has to be said. And as part of your role, you obviously work alongside Clio's executive team, right? So what projects are you currently working on? You can give us flavors on. Just give us a little snippet.
Well, I think the Clio Cloud Conference is actually a really great place to start with because we're here in Nashville, and the best way I can describe Clio Con is it's actually the manifestation, maybe the human way of representing Clio in a physical environment.
Yeah.
So Clio, the software company, Clio, the culture, this is showing up in one place. And that means that the experience we're putting on for many of our customers, our prospects, our partners, this is the only time they're ever going to see Clio in person. And if we can set the bar for them in terms of that experience, in terms of the level of service we can provide, in terms of the innovation that we can deliver, well, they're going to be really impressed by what Clio's putting on.
Yeah. And I guess that leads to, so why Clio for you?
I think first and foremost, Clio is a mission-driven company, and it's hard to explain how much more motivating it is to work for a company where there is a clear impact that we have. And the legal profession touches so many facets of our life that it is frankly inspiring to be impacting not just legal professionals, but the clients that rely on them and the acts of justice that they have. There's two stories that I'm really proud of or really feel connected to. One is my wife is actually a lawyer, a practicing lawyer in Toronto, Canada. And when I was considering joining Clio, I noticed not just her, but many of her friends who went to law school who sometimes struggled with the practice of law. Things that were maybe outdated, like billable hours or archaic structures inside of law firms. But technology wasn't far behind in terms of causing grief and not making things easier for her and some of her friends. So I felt like I was solving a real problem, one where I could see a profession that needed help, that needed innovation. And two, I'm super motivated by the access to justice that Clio helps provide. In particular, Clio provides a software for free to many nonprofit organizations. One of them that I'm really excited about is the California Innocence Project, which basically is responsible for exonerating innocent people out of jail. And if you can imagine them receiving thousands of handwritten letters from inmates every single month, hoping for them to take on their case of exoneration, well, where do those letters go? They get tracked inside of Clio and managed by hundreds of law school students and clerks and lawyers until they finally lead to exoneration. And I've never worked for a company that has that kind of impact on people and on society. And frankly, that's just so motivating and inspiring.
It absolutely is, and we absolutely support that. And I guess this takes us back to Clio Con, because a big theme of Jack's keynote, of course, was around access to justice and the amazing work that you've been doing. Again, just give people more of a taste of Clio Con, because, I'm first time here, I'm in Nashville. I feel like I've just been a sponge in terms of the level of content I'm consuming, the level of networking. But just tell us sort of, why, if someone's new listening to this, wow, I missed out on Clio Con, I need to be in Texas, Austin next year. Like, give us a few lines on why for you.
Absolutely. Before I joined Clio, I had worked for large technology companies. So I've been to big conferences like Dreamforce in San Francisco or Marketo Summit or big technology conferences in Vegas. And I was used to a certain level of insightful keynotes and entertainment and experiences that represented that. And when I got to legal, I was actually kind of disappointed, because a lot of legal conferences are not like that at all.
Yeah.
It might be in, stuffy basements without great lighting, or with bad coffee, or without, bad food. And, maybe lacking insights or innovation from outside the legal industry that we can learn from. And ClioCon's not that at all. This is our 11th annual Clio Cloud Conference. It's grown from a 200-person event to 2,500 in-person plus 2,100 virtual this year in Nashville. And not only is it big, which it absolutely is, but it is powerful, it is inspiring, it is connection, it is a quality of experience where you're going to come in, you're just going to get so much value from it. And to see attendees in a packed keynote room looking at Jack's keynote and not just listening carefully, but taking out their phones, capturing screenshots, jotting down notes, looking for ideas to get better and improve themselves, that is so inspiring. So ClioCon is a place where legal professionals, whether they're Clio customers or not, come to learn, to get inspired, to get better at their craft, and honestly, to have fun and have a great time too. And we want them to feel like this is part of their network, their community, and this is going to be an important part of their social aspect, because it's going to help them keep motivated for the rest of the year, and motivated and excited and inspired about the work that they do as legal professionals.
Yeah, and you're so right. Fun is important. So let's touch on that, because, particularly this year with Nashville, there's some cool after dark events, and there's stuff that Clio really prides itself on. So give people a bit of flavor. Once the day's done, the networking's done, everything's down. Like, what does the fun look like?
Yeah, I think fun is such an integral part of a conference. You're flying out from across the country or around the world. We have attendees this year from more than 20 countries, which is amazing. And we want you to enjoy the sessions, but we want the days to start with some relaxation.
Yeah.
We have yoga to start the morning sessions. In the evenings, we have our legendary After Dark events, which always take into account the flavor of where we are. This year in Nashville, on Monday night, we're at the Grand Ole Opry, which is the iconic home of country music. On Tuesday, we're celebrating on the Broadway Strip, which is this iconic central piece of where, all the fun truly lives in Nashville. And I'm super excited for Austin next year. We're going to bring the flavors of music, of barbecue, of Texas hospitality to an even better Clio Con in 2024.
Yeah, and I'm excited for that. And I just wanted to ask finally with you, because you're also, I believe, like a frequent speaker on startups, legal tech. What are some of the most important trends or developments that you've seen in legal technology and you're most excited about going forward?
I think the only thing people can talk about is AI.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I actually don't think that AI is overrated at all. I think this is a transformational piece of technology. And as Jack talked about in his keynote this morning at the Clio Cloud Conference, AI has a really massive opportunity to be a pivotal change in the legal profession, to help lawyers be more efficient and effective with their time. And if you think about the world that lawyers live in, it's documents, it's words, it's tasks that are repetitive. It feels like it's the perfect opportunity for legal professionals to take advantage of LLMs and AI to automate their workflow and their practice and ultimately deliver a better client experience that's going to let more clients reach the access to justice they're looking for.
Yeah, no, really well said. And finally, you're obviously fantastic at what you do. What would you say to inspire people? Maybe they're interested in getting into growth marketing. What would be your advice to them interested in that, and specifically maybe in the legal industry?
Well, I think growth marketing to me is about solving problems. And if you can identify problems and solve them, you can be a growth marketer. And when I look at a lot of the legal industry and legal technology industry, there's many, many companies that have problems they're trying to solve. Maybe they're trying to acquire customers in a different way or position themselves in a certain way, trying to sell their products or trying to grow. They're trying to find, product market fit. If you can spot those ideas, you can talk to customers, understand what they need, build hypotheses to achieve those goals, I think you can be a successful growth marketer.
Yeah, and I absolutely agree. And Alex, you are doing a tremendous job as VP, certainly at Clio. You've been a huge support for us. It's been really, really good having you on the show, learning more about Clio Con. I would highly recommend Clio Con to everybody to come and check it out. I'm excited for 2024 in Texas, Austin next year. Thank you so much for being on the show. Where can people find out more if they want to get in touch?
Thanks, Rob. It was a pleasure. We're super excited to have you here from the UK, and we can't wait to have you here next year in Austin. Feel free to check out more about ClioCon at cliocloudconference.com. We're selling early bird passes now, and you can join us in Austin next October.
See you there.